What's up,
Thank you
Josh?
for taking the time.
For sure. Likewise. So what made you decide to be part of the series?
Well, I like that picture of my father you have behind you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it.
Tom Hanks is Woody, a legendary character. I love this idea of I've spent my life kind of in family friendly fare, and I think I'd always looked for something now in my early 30s about like what could be a continuation of that, where I could do all the things comedically that I love doing, where I could continue to give audiences the things that they expect from me, but also feel challenged
Mm.
and also do something that I think is pushing me in the right direction. And when something like this came about, and our creator Matt Nix, who had created a show called Burn Notice, I think his real specialty is creating like action-packed, uh, sort of multi-layered drama, heart-filled TV shows that leave people feeling good at the end of the episode and not like questioning their life or existence. When it came about and I was able to read his take on this world, it just felt like a great fit.
I gotta admit, your show was one of my favorite shows growing up.
Thank you.
I love Drake and Josh a ton. It's cool. I think my generation of fans have been able to kind of see you evolve, from there to, YouTube, podcasting. And I think the thing that what stands out is you're probably most proud of your family and your wife and your son. How has that shaped your life, and how has that shaped like your work now?
Thank you so much. It's really sweet of you. And you're right. I'm pretty head over heels for my wife and son. And I feel so lucky. He's 2.5 now. And I feel like I've fallen into every corny trope that you hear from parents about how great kids make your life. But, I grew up like with a single mom and an only child without much family. And I think there was like a little bit of a loneliness to my childhood. Although while it was great and filled with a lot of love for my mom, I think I yearned for a big family and that energy. And so meeting my wife, and she has this beautiful Irish Catholic sort of brood, this great family who have been so gracious in welcoming me and my mom, and then creating new family. Like, my wife and my wife always accuses me of like having ants in my pants and I can never sit around. I'm a really bad chiller. And now I have this like 2.5-year-old sidekick who like wants to do whatever I want to do. It's awesome. I'm like, La Brea Tar Pits, let's crush it. Like trampoline park, we're in. Kettle corn, highlight of the day. So it's just so great. I've like basically created a sidekick for myself.
That's incredible. And how has that shaped your work now, and how you approach a role like Turner and Hooch?
It's a great question. I think, having a child has put my emotions just right on the surface. And listen, let's be honest, I wasn't a stoic guy to begin with. I've always been pretty emotional, but I remember there's this great scene in the pilot where I'm reading this letter from my dad who had passed away. And he's explaining to me the importance of loving an animal. And I get choked up reading it. And there were two things that sort of came about in that way, which was the writing was great and it naturally moved me. But secondly, it's just like, I was like in the back of my mind, thanking my son, because it just feels like those things come more easily now that I'm constantly, I'll be honest, I could see the wrong commercial and fall to tears. So it's like, I think it just brings everything up to the surface because you never cared about something so much.
That's amazing. And I love that the show is going to inspire people. And I talked to some of the other cast members, and they said there was some unique, like really synergy on this project. What was some of the unique parts of this series?
I think you're right. It's just rare that you get to work with great actors who are also great people. And I think like, Vanessa Lenges, who plays our dog trainer, and maybe the apple of Scott Turner's eye, Erica Monier. Vanessa and I have known each other since we were teenagers. Lindsay Fonseca, who plays my sister, we lived in the same apartment complex when we were 14. Vanessa knew Becca Tobin, who plays Brooke. Like there was just all this synergy in our cast. Like, so we knew that like everyone was vetted, everyone was a good person. And then, we were up in Canada. There was a quarantine because it was the pandemic. And so for 8 months, we couldn't leave. And we enjoyed holidays together and birthdays. And it was this once in a lifetime experience of like really, just batten down the hatches, let's make this great show. We're so lucky to be working at a time like this. And I think we accomplished that.
Well, thank you, Josh. And thanks for this interview, but also thanks for the other things that you put out into the world that has inspired my life and many of your fans.
Oh, that means so much, Joe. Thank you so much.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hi. It seems like was such a unique show to film and to just produce. Being part of a film in a series where one of the lead characters is a dog. So can you each tell us some of your favorite Hooch story?
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, Jeremy, I wish you would go first.
Okay. My favorite like Hooch, like on camera off moment kind of like story is like when I play with the dogs, for me to bond with the dogs, they took me out to someplace on the lot and they'd have like a little blanket there and they'd teach me how to like control, like teach the dog tricks and stuff and try and sort of just feel them and stuff and bond with them. And you'll look like a chew toy at the end of the day, but trust me, it's just all love, because that dog slobbers a lot.
They were so much more professional than I could ever hope to be, and watching them perform and do their job the way they're supposed to do it was amazing to watch. All the trainers of the dogs was fantastic to watch them handle those animals the way they were supposed to be handled. I honor them. They deserve an award, handling those dogs, because those dogs were made to perform exactly as they were written to perform. And it was wonderful to watch them do it, watch them go through their paces, and I enjoyed it. So
that's awesome. Lindsay, do you have any cool Hooch stories?
Well, I mean, we had to go through many clothing options because if the slobber dried pants, we had to change them. So we were always, ready for a wardrobe change at any moment. But honestly, and more sincerely, like the presence, you can't really fake it around a dog. So I think you have to be really committed to the storytelling because they're sensitive animals. They don't know you're acting. So you have to be very mindful of them.
That's awesome. Reginald, you've been part of some kind of really memorable pictures, films, shows throughout the past few decades, from Die Hard to Family Matters to original Turner and Hooch. What was it like coming back to a role like 30 years later?
Wow. I can't tell you. It was interesting because he's a lot older now and his moves are a lot slower now, but I had to keep up, but it was a joy trying to create this character again, that I played before. And it was a special moment dealing with the other actors and learning how this character would react to them, like Tom's daughter and, his whole lifestyle. It was quite a unique experience. And I'm glad I chose to do it. And I'm glad that I'm going to be a part of this thing and hope it runs forever. So I had a good time.
That's awesome. Lindsay, was there anything unique about working on this project compared to past projects that you've done?
Well, I mean, obviously, this is my first show whose lead character is a dog. So that was unusual.
Mine too.
Yeah. But then also, we shot it during COVID. So there was a lot of other circumstances that made it difficult and unique. But I think ultimately it was a kind of a gift. We all became very close and created a bond and a family because we were really in it together, shooting up in Vancouver, away from our families, and really connected. So I think between the dog and the circumstances of the world, it became more important to us.
That's incredible. Jeremy, what was your favorite part of playing your character?
Well, was no really like favorite part because all of it was awesome. Because I'm really like my character. I'm hyper and energetic, and I love dogs and animals. And most of my scenes are usually, yeah, just like how I act. And yeah, so basically I love dogs and I would do anything for dogs because I'm a dog person. And there's nothing really different from me and Matthew.
I'd love to hear maybe in one sentence, what's something that you learned while making this series, whether it's about acting, whether it's about life, whether it's about yourself, what's something that you've learned? Reginald, you can go first.
Well, I think learning to work with new people and than I did before was really special for me. Learning the paces of each character and whatnot, and how to interact with them, and just watching. They are very professional. I mean, they all were easy to work with and fun to work with. And I really appreciate them receiving me from the old thing into their new thing. And it was really cool. I hope this lasts a long, long time and I'll be a part of it. It was really special.
Lindsay, what have you learned in the last year through making this series?
I just want to say this is Hooch's world. I'm just living in it.
That's true. Very true.
That's awesome. Jeremy, what's something that you learned either about acting, about life, about film that in the last year?
Animals know more than we think.
Yeah, that's true.
They really, really know more. And then also it's just that I've had an amazing experience working on this show that I will never, ever, 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 ever forget because when I have children, I'm going to tell them and they can tell their children, and because I'll never forget about this experience. It's a part of my life now.
You all are amazing. Thanks so much for your time. And thanks for just the great spirit you bring onto the show, but also in your interviews.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Hi.
You guys all been in so many just awesome different projects throughout your career. What's kind of unique about this series, these sets? Like, what was some of the unique things about your role compared to other projects that you've done in the past?
I mean, I know for me, I don't think I've ever done this is probably the most comedic show I've ever done. And I feel like this show is a comedy first, you know what I mean? Maybe action second. So it was a lot of fun to being a proper comedy, working opposite, Cara and Anthony and Josh were all very, very funny people. And literally we got to go to work and laugh every day. Every day I would not leave work without busting up. And that was incredible.
Sweet. Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, for sure. Just to expand on that, I've done a lot of procedurals in the past. So it was just amazing to come to work and just kind of be able to throw that out the window and be able to have fun with it, have fun with, the fact that, yes, there's this kind of really kind of tight-laced procedural going on. And then in comes this dog who just kind of blows it all up, and be able to just kind of be the straight man to that was super fun. I really I enjoyed coming to work every day and being able to work with the dog, especially during being able to work during COVID was also really amazing.
Yeah. Cara, was there any thing unique about this series for you?
Oh, absolutely. This is my first comedy as well, and first time working with a dog. And it was also my first time having a baby. So I got to work while I was pregnant, and being able to blend all the things that I love into one pot. It was really special.
Congratulations on that, Cara.
Yeah.
And you guys have said that it's one of your first comedies. How is preparing for a comedy different for you as opposed to some of the other past work you guys done?
Well, comedy can be difficult because either something's funny or it's not. I feel in drama you kind of meander your way through some things, and you're maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. But with comedy, I mean, there's always that in the back of your mind, did that joke land? Did that joke hit? And so yeah, I mean, there's like a stressful element. I know for me, I was like, man, I hope this is working. Like, I hope this is reading. But ultimately, you just got to trust, your preparation. And like I said, when you're surrounded by other funny people, it makes the job a lot easier.
Cara, was there anything unique for you preparing for this, like in the comedy genre?
Oh yeah. I mean, even though this was I was just super excited to be able to do a comedy, and it's really hard to get those parts sometimes if you're not a comedian, and then like auditioning for it puts more pressure. But for me, I have to be really relaxed in order to be funny. And so it kind of felt like, a catch-22. I was like, am I going to get this role? I'm so nervous, but it went really well. And in one of my last auditions, I got to act opposite our lead, Josh Peck, and he's just so warm. He's so cool, and he's just so funny. And so it just clicked. And like Brandon just said, working with a lot of funny people really helps. And the creative team, they brought together just a super dope cast. Everyone is hilarious. And it was really hard to keep a straight face. So it made the comedic, that comedic energy just stay sharp.
That's amazing. Anthony, was there anything unique for you about like preparing for this role as compared to like other roles that you've done?
Yeah, no, I think once I keyed in on the fact that like the less I try to make it funny, the funnier it'll be, right? So the more I was, doing Serpico in Turner and Hooch, the funnier it was, right? So I think my prep was just trying to trust the straight man of it, and just trust the fact that, just by me questioning the fact that there's a dog there, or my, the fact that I'm like incredulous as to what the hell is happening and trying to figure it all out. I mean, that in itself is funny. So I had to just trust that the comedy will come, as opposed to trying to be funny.
That's awesome. And obviously there's been challenges in, the last year and filming this series, but I would love to hear maybe in just one sentence, what was your favorite part of filming the series? You can go first, Brandon.
I think my favorite part of filming this series was, like I said before, just being able to show up to work and laugh every single day. I just felt so grateful.
Awesome. Cara?
My favorite part of filming this series was the ensemble. The whole world was very separate, but we had this like tight-knit group of people that we were clear to be around. And it was just the best group. You couldn't ask for a better group to spend that time with.
Anthony, what was your favorite part?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll double down on Cara with the ensemble. I mean, we were up in Vancouver, kind of ostracized from everybody, kind of filming. But we've got Cara, who had a baby while filming. We've got Vanessa, who got engaged. So these amazing life things happened during the filming of this that I'll never forget. I turned 50. Oh my God. So yeah. And COVID, I mean, yeah, that was more than one sentence. Sorry.
That's great. Well, thank you all so much for your time, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you,
forward.
man. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Vanessa and Becca, it's good to speak with you this morning. You both have been involved in like so many projects in your career. What was unique about this show and this series and your characters?
This one had big dogs in it. Actually, my very first acting job when I was 7, some age, very young, and was on the Canadian version of Lassie.
Okay.
So I did work with a dog before. Very, very little recollection of it, but yeah, the dogs definitely. That would make this show unique. You, Becca?
Yeah, I mean, the dogs brought a whole new element. I feel like this is sort of a once in a lifetime acting job, and feel super grateful to be a part of. And the cast, I mean, the cast is amazing. And a lot of us have known each other for a long time. Vanessa and I, 10 years. Vanessa knew Josh as a teenager. So it's like one big happy family. And we bonded like crazy, which, during COVID, it was it was a bummer, and there were parts of it we couldn't go back and see our families because the border was closed, but then we were able to bond like no other cast I've ever been a part of. So that was an amazing, different experience.
Going to like the dog, do you guys have any fun stories about working with him? Was there any times that he was you were impressed how good of an actor he was, and was there times that you were a little frustrated?
Yes to both. I mean, I had one scene where we were filming the first establishing wide shot. So that kind of sets how the whole scene is going to get shot when they go in for coverage. So those shots are kind of important. And I had one, it was like episode 10, and I got Hooch. I had a lot of business with Hooch, and I got him to do every single beat that was scripted. And that they yelled cut, and I felt like I had just climbed Mount Everest. I was so accomplished. I was shrieking. I was like, did you see that? He did it. It was like so exciting, because on the heels of that, there were times where you had the plan for how the scene was going to go, and Hooch had a different plan. And guess who wins that battle? The dog, every time. And it's great because there are moments in the show that you would never know that Hooch essentially directed those scenes, and we went with what Hooch wanted to do. So so both, definitely.
Becca, do you have any fun experiences?
Yeah, I mean, one of the last episodes that we shot, it was scripted that Hooch, you look over and we catch Hooch drinking out of a water cooler. And so they put baby food around the nozzle of one of the water coolers. And every single time between every take, he would just go up there and put his his whole muzzle all over this water cooler and lick like every last bit of baby food off of it. And I just remember thinking, it's so crazy. Like, if the audience knew how much baby food goes into getting these dogs to do what you want them to do. And it's just like fun little bits and pieces that I did not know how you got dogs on set to do certain tricks. And, Vanessa always had treats in her pocket or cheese in her pocket. And, it's just the tricks of the trade.
That's awesome. And I'm sure it's a fun experience, learning to act with an actor that's a dog. Yeah. What are some of the challenges of, filming during the pandemic? What were some of the cool parts about that too?
Well, one of the challenges was that we filmed in Vancouver. I love Vancouver. I have lived there before. Actually, Beck and I hung out in Vancouver years before. In between Glee and Turner and Hooch, we had a little fun time in Vancouver. And I love Vancouver so much. And because of the borders being closed, when they told us we were going to Vancouver to shoot the show, it was understood that we are going and we're not going to be able to leave for 9 months. So over the Christmas holidays, over just this is where you are for that period. So, Anthony, his whole family, he was away from his family for 9 months. And a lot of the actors brought their family members with them and kids and stuff. But, that was really challenging. And then Becca, you want to talk about the flip side of that, being in the same bubble? We were all very sad to not be able to see our families over the holidays, and it had already been such a long year of not being able to see our families. So, but the benefit really was that we spent so much time together, and we, like I said before, we bonded like no other cast. And it's also, this is going to be a time in history where we're going to remember it forever. And people in the industry are going to say, remember when you were on set? And a lot of actors won't have had the experience of what it was like to be on set. It's historical. And it's kind of as crazy as it was when we were like washing our mouths out with peroxide wash between kisses, and having all these other obstacles. You're kind of thinking this is something that is going to go down in history as the entertainment industry persevering through a pandemic.
We're excited for the show to come out, and thank you for your hard work during it to just put it out there for the world to see. Thank you so much for taking your time for this interview as well.
Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. I love all your posters.
Thank you.
Me too.
Disney Plus fan over here also. Disney fan in general.